My wife came home at 2:00 a.m. from girls' dinner. She said, "Sorry, Baba, we just lost track of time." I nodded. Then showed her the Instagram story. Her friend posted her making out with a guy at a nightclub. Her face went pale. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I never thought I'd be posting here, but after everything that's happened over the last year, I need to get this off my chest. Maybe it'll help someone else spot the signs earlier than I did. I'm Otuziki, a project manager at a mid-sized tech firm, and I've always prided myself on being the steady, reliable type. My wife Sarah and I had been married for 5 years. Together for 8 total. We met in college. She was the outgoing one, always dragging me to parties, while I was the guy who made sure we got home safe. I thought that balance worked. Looking back, maybe it was just me carrying the weight. From the start, I was all in. I supported her through everything. When she lost her job 2 years into our marriage, a marketing gig she loved but got laid off from due to company cuts, I picked up extra freelance work to cover the bills while she job hunted. I even turned down a promotion that would have required relocating because she didn't want to leave her friends and family here in the city. We'll build our life here together, I told her, and I meant it. I cooked dinners most nights, planned weekend getaways to keep things fresh, and listened when she vented about her day. Hell, I even surprised her with tickets to that concert she was obsessed with last summer, even though it meant skipping a work event that could have boosted my career. But over the past 6 months, things started shifting. Sarah became distant. She'd be glued to her phone, smiling at texts she'd hide when I walked into the room. Our conversations turned one-sided. She'd complain about how routine our life felt, making little digs like, you know, some guys at work are always planning spontaneous adventures. It's exciting. I brush it off, thinking it was just stress from her new job at an ad agency. She started going out more with her girls group, coming home late, smelling like perfume and alcohol. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife, but deep down there was this nagging feeling like I was becoming the backup plan in my own marriage. Then came that night about a year ago now. It was a Thursday. Nothing special. She told me she was grabbing dinner with her friends Emily and a couple others from work. Just a quick bite. Baba, won't be late. I nodded, kissed her goodbye, and settled in with some work, emails, and a beer. Bejishin 0 p.m. No text. Enist p.m. I sent a casual, everything good, no reply. Midnight rolled around, and I started worrying, maybe an accident. I called, but it went to voicemail, finally. At 2:00 a.m. I hear the key in the door. She stumbles in, heels in hand, hair a bit messy, giggling to herself like she'd had one too many. Sorry, Baba, she said, tossing her purse on the couch and kicking off her shoes. We just lost track of time. You know how it is with the girls gossiping about work drama and all that. She leaned in for a kiss, but I caught a whiff of something unfamiliar, like cologne mixed with her usual scent. I nodded, keeping my face neutral. Sounds fun. I replied, my voice steady. Even though my gut was twisting, I'd been scrolling social media out of boredom while waiting, and that's when I saw it. Emily, her best friend, had posted a story from the night. It was a video clip from what looked like a crowded nightclub downtown, strobe lights flashing, music thumping, and there in the middle was Sarah pressed up against some guy in a button-down shirt, their faces smashed together in a full-on makeout session. His hands were on her waist, hers in his hair. The caption, girls' night, getting wild, fire, tagged with Sarah's handle, not less. My heart dropped, but I didn't yell or freak out. I just sat there for a second, letting it sink in. This wasn't some misunderstanding. This was blatant, right there for anyone to see. I saved the screenshot before the story could expire, then waited for her to finish her excuse. She plopped down next to me, still oblivious, reaching for the remote. What did you do tonight? Binge that show again. I pulled out my phone and held it up, the screen showing the frozen image of her and the guy. This, what you mean by losing track of time? Her face went pale, like ghost white. She stared at the screen, mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. For a split second, I saw panic in her eyes, but then it shifted, almost like she was calculating her next move. What Where did you get that? She stammered, snatching the phone from my hand. That's not... Oh my god. Emily must have posted the wrong clip or something. I crossed my arms, staying calm. It's your face. Sarah? And he's in a nightclub. Not dinner. Care to explain? She set the phone down, rubbing her temples, like I was the one giving her a headache. Okay. Fine. It was just a kiss. We started at dinner, but then everyone wanted to hit a club after. This guy, Jake, from work, he was there with his friends. We were dancing, had a few drinks, and it happened, but it meant nothing. I was drunk. Babe, you're overreacting. Overreacting, I echoed, my tone even. Inside, it felt like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a slip. She'd lied straight to my face about the whole evening, and now she was downplaying it like I was the problem for caring. Yeah. She shot back, her voice gaining that defensive edge she got when cornered. It's not like I slept with him or anything. God, you're always so uptight about everything. Maybe if our life wasn't so predictable, I wouldn't need to blow off steam like this. There it was. The twist, blaming me for her cheating. I'd sacrificed promotions, supported her through unemployment, planned dates to keep things exciting. And here she was throwing it back, like I was the boring one holding her back. It stung, but I didn't snap. I just looked at her, letting the silence hang. So that's it. I'm the villain here, I asked quietly. She rolled her eyes, standing up, like the conversation was beneath her. Look, I'm sorry it happened, okay? But you're making this a bigger deal than it is. Jake's just a fun guy. He gets me laughing. Unlike our routine dinners at home, if you trusted me, we'd move past this fun guy from work. The pieces clicked, those late texts, the distant attitude. This wasn't a one-off. Jake was the reason. I felt the betrayal settle in deep and unfair. I'd been loyal, committed, and this is what I got. Made to feel like a backup while she chased excitement with some coworker. I didn't beg or argue. If that's how you feel, maybe you should go be with the fun guy. I said, my voice flat. She huffed, grabbing her purse. Maybe I will. I need space anyway. And just like that, she stormed into the bedroom to pack an overnight bag. That night escalated faster than I expected. Sarah didn't just take space, she made it permanent. After our confrontation, she spent the next hour throwing clothes into a duffel bag, muttering under her breath about how I'd ruined the evening by spying on her friends' stories. I sat on the couch watching without a word. Part of me wanted to ask why, to demand details, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. She'd already chosen. Once her bag was zipped, she turned to me, arms crossed, that smug look creeping back despite the earlier panic. You know, I've been thinking about this for a while, she said, like she was delivering a TED talk on self-improvement. Jake and I, we click. He's ambitious, always planning these spontaneous trips and nights out with you. It's just safe, predictable. I love you. But I need more than Netflix and takeout to feel alive. I leaned back, forcing myself to stay composed. So, this kiss wasn't a one-time thing. She shrugged, avoiding my eyes for a beat before meeting them defiantly. We've been talking, flirting, I guess, but tonight was the first time anything physical happened. Not that it's your business now. Not my business. I repeated, keeping my tone neutral. We're married. Sarah? Yeah. Well, maybe we rushed into that. She fired back, her logic twisting like a pretzel. I was young when we met. I thought stability was enough. But Jake shows me there's more to life. He challenges me, makes me feel desired. You're comfortable, like an old sweater, but who wants to wear the same sweater forever? The words hit like knives, comparing me to worn-out clothing while elevating this Jake guy to some thrill-seeking hero. I'd given up so much for her, and she was dismissing it all as boring. It was cruel, entitled, like my loyalty was a flaw. So, you're leaving for him, I asked, not raising my voice. She nodded, a smirk tugging at her lips. Yeah, I'll crash at Emily's tonight, then figure things out. We can talk divorce later. Keep it civil, right? No need to drag this out. Civil, as if she hadn't just blown up our life publicly via that story. And to add insult, in the next morning, I woke up to her social media update, a vague post about embracing new chapters and chasing joy. No mention of me, but her friends were liking it, commenting, fire emojis. It felt like a public slap. Disrespectful, Like I was already erased. I didn't respond. No text begging her back. No calls confronting Jake. I just called a locksmith to change the locks. Practical, not petty. And started packing her remaining stuff into boxes. If she wanted out, I'd make it easy. But inside, the unfairness burned. Why did the loyal guy get discarded like yesterday's news? The days after Sarah left were a blur. But not in the dramatic sobbing into a pillow way you see in movies. I didn't chase her, didn't blow up her phone with pleas or accusations. Instead, I focused on the practical stuff. The kind of quiet actions that rebuild a life piece by piece. First thing the next morning, I called a divorce lawyer, not some aggressive shark, just a straightforward guy who handled no-fault cases. Keep it simple. I told him, no alimony fights. Just split what's fair. We had no kids. A joint account with minimal savings, and the apartment lease in both names. I offered to buy her out of her half or let her take it. I didn't care. As long as I was free by afternoon. I'd boxed up the rest of her things, clothes she'd left behind, that collection of scented candles she loved, even the framed photos from our wedding. I dropped them off at Emily's place. Her best friend, who had conveniently posted that incriminating story, Emily answered the door, looking awkward, mumbling something about how things happen, and Sarah's going through a lot. I just handed over the boxes and said, tell her it's all here. No need to come back. Then I walked away. No small talk, no digging for details about Jake. What was the point? She'd made her choice. I changed the locks that evening, more for peace of mind than spite. Then I blocked her number, her social media, everything. It wasn't about punishment. It was about protecting myself. For the first time in years, I had space to breathe. That nagging feeling of being a backup was gone, but the confusion lingered. I'd replay those flashbacks in my head during quiet moments. The time I skipped a family vacation to help her prep for a big presentation at her old job, or when I surprised her with a weekend cabin rental after her layoff, just to lift her spirits. She'd called it sweet but safe. Safe? Like that was an insult. I'd given up parts of myself to make us work, and she tossed it aside for some fun guy. It felt so undeserved. Like loyalty was a sucker bet. I didn't wallow, though. I threw myself into routines that built me up, joined a gym, not to get revenge hot, but because it cleared my head, started therapy sessions once a week. The counselor helped me unpack how I'd ignored the red flags, always assuming good intent. Work became my anchor. I took on extra projects, and within a couple months, my boss noticed, you've got focus now. He said, offering me that promotion I turned down before. This time, I said yes. It meant longer hours, but better pay. And honestly, the structure kept the silence from feeling too heavy. Nights were the hardest at first. I'd sit on the couch staring at the empty spot where her purse used to land, wondering how someone could flip so fast. But I didn't reach out, didn't stalk her online or ask mutual friends for updates. I just detached, let the unfairness sit there until it started to fade. Friends checked in, offering beers and sympathy, but I kept it light. I'm good, I'd say, and slowly, the confusion turned to clarity. I deserved someone who saw my stability as a strength, not a flaw. By month 3, the apartment felt like mine again. I even adopted a dog, a rescue mutt named Max, who forced me out for walks and reminded me life goes on. It took about 4 months for the cracks to show in Sarah's new chapter. I wasn't hunting for info. I'd made a point to avoid it. But mutual friends started dropping hints during casual hangouts. At first, it was vague. Heard Sarah's been posting a lot about adventures with that Jake guy. I'd nod and change the subject. But then the tone shifted. One buddy, Mark, pulled me aside at a group dinner. Dude, it's getting messy over there. Jake's not what he seemed. From what I pieced together over time through offhand comments and the occasional screenshots someone forwarded, I didn't ask. But people talk. Jake was a classic facade. He worked in sales at her agency, always flashing cash on, nights out. But it turned out a lot of it was smoke and mirrors. Credit card debt. Apparently, Sarah had quit her job a month after leaving me, convinced by Jake that they could travel and live free while she freelanced. Bed move. Freelance gigs dried up fast, and Jake started showing his true colors, controlling, quick to anger. Friends said he'd yell at her over little things. Like if she texted an old coworker, then the cheating, ironic, right? Turns out he was seeing at least one other woman from work, using the same spontaneous lines on her. Sarah's social media told the story in reverse. Early posts were all glowy pics of them at bars. Weekend getaways funded by her savings. I later learned captions like, finally living my best life. But by month 5, the vibe changed. Cryptic stories about trust issues and learning lessons. Then radio silence for weeks. Mutual friends started distancing themselves, Emily included. She'd been the one to introduce Jake, hyping him up. But when the abuse rumors surfaced, nothing physical that I heard, but emotional manipulation, gaslighting her into thinking she was the problem. People backed off. One friend confessed over coffee. We saw the story she posted after you guys split, bragging about her upgrade. But now she's isolated. Lost a bunch of us because she burned bridges defending him. The real unraveling hit around month 6. Jake dumped her, ghosted. Actually, after draining what was left of her savings on a business trip that was probably just a hookup, she ended up broke, crashing on her sister's couch back in her hometown an hour away. No, job, reputation tanked at the agency. Words got around about the office drama. And friends who cheered her on now saw the hypocrisy. He discarded you like you were nothing. Mark said, now she's getting the same treatment. Karmas are. I didn't gloat, didn't feel vindicated in a petty way. It just made sense. Her smug dismissal, the twisted logic blaming me for her boredom. It all caught up. She became irrelevant in her own circle, posting desperate job seeker updates that got crickets. Meanwhile, I was thriving, but that came later. For now, watching from afar, or not watching really, it felt like the universe balancing the scales. The betrayal sting dulled, replaced by a quiet acceptance. Actions have consequences, and hers were piling up. The unraveling didn't stop with Sarah's isolation. It circled back to me. Around month 7, the first text slipped through. I'd unblocked her for divorce logistics, lawyer's advice, but I regretted it instantly. It started innocent enough. Hey, just checking in. How are you? I ignored it. A day later, we need to talk about the papers. Can we meet? The papers were already filed. My lawyer had handled it, but she kept pushing. By week 2 of her outreach, the messages turned personal. I miss our old life. Jake was a mistake. He's gone now. Steal it. Radio silence from me. Then the call started. The first one I let go to voicemail. Please pick up. I know I screwed up, but we had good times, right? I was confused, stressed from work. You were always so understanding. Hypocrisy at its finest. She blamed me for the boredom, but now I was the understanding one she needed. I deleted it without replying. Escalation hit when she showed up at my new apartment, unannounced. I'd moved to a quieter building across town after the promotion. Better views. Closer to work. How she found the address. Probably through mutual friends or her sister snooping. It was a Saturday afternoon. Max was barking at the door. I opened it to find her standing there looking thinner. Eyes red-rimmed. Clutching a coffee like a peace offering. Can I come in? She asked. Voice, small but insistent. Just for a minute. I drove all the way here. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. What do you want? Sarah. She shifted uncomfortably, glancing around like she expected Jake to pop out. I realize now how good I had it with you. Jake was awful. He yelled all the time. Cheated on me with someone from the office. I quit my job because of the drama. And now I'm broke living with my sister. It's humiliating. But you were stable. We could try again. Right? I learned my lesson. Stable. There was that word again. Like a backhanded compliment. I felt the power shift. She was the one begging now. Unraveling in real time, but I didn't soften. Sounds rough. I said flatly. But that's not my problem anymore. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. How can you be so cold? After 5 years of marriage, I said, I'm sorry. What? You want me to beg? If that's what you think this is about, you're missing the point. I replied, keeping my tone even. You left. You chose him. Deal with it. She huffed, tears welling up, desperation turning to manipulation. Fine. Be that way. But my family thinks you're being unfair. My sister said you'd man up and forgive. Eventually, everyone makes mistakes. The toxic reinforcements. Her sister had called me a few days prior, leaving a voicemail. Listen, you're acting like a child. Sarah's suffering, lost her job. Her friends grow a pair and take her back. Family sticks together. Unpleasant, entitled, like I owed them my life. A couple of her old friends had texted too. One saying, she's really sorry. Dude, give her a chance. She's not the same. I blocked them all. It was clear they weren't on my side. They just wanted the mess cleaned up. Sarah's attempts amped up after that visit. More texts. Please. I can't sleep thinking about us. Then voicemails laced with anger. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Seeing me fall apart while you play the victim? Well, screw you. I deserve better than your boring ass anyway. The flip was textbook, apologetic to raging when she didn't get her way. It exposed her true colors, selfish, hypocritical, always twisting things to suit her narrative. I stayed detached through it all. No response, no engagement. The confusion from those early months was gone. I'd sat with the betrayal long enough to see it for what it was. Her desperation only confirmed I dodged a bullet. By month 9, the contact slowed. Maybe she got the hint, or maybe karma had her too occupied. Either way, she was becoming a footnote in my story. The final nail came at our mutual friend Mark's wedding, about 10 months after the split. I debated skipping it. Knew Sarah might show, given her ties to the group, but I'd RSVP'd yes before everything blew up, and bailing felt like letting her win. Plus, my life had leveled up. The promotion led to a team lead role, better salary, even a bit of travel for conferences. I'd started dating again casually. And for the wedding, I brought Lena, a colleague turned friend who'd become more, she was kind, ambitious, valued my stability without the digs. No drama, just genuine connection. The venue was a cozy outdoor spot outside the city, string lights, live band. The works. I arrived with Lena, feeling good in my suit. Mark pulled me into a hug at the reception. Glad you came. Men, heard about Sarah. She's here. But keep your head up. I nodded. No big deal. Sure enough, during cocktail hour, she approached. She looked rough, dress a bit wrinkled, makeup trying too hard to hide the stress lines. I'll own it. No. Jake in sight. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, but flickered when they landed on Lena. Hey, she said, voice shaky but forcing a smile. You look great. Congrats on the promotion. I heard through friends. Thanks. I replied, neutral. Lena squeezed my hand. Sensing the tension, Sarah glanced at her, then back to me. Can we talk privately? I see now what I lost. Jake ruined everything. He was abusive, cheated, left me with nothing. But you were always there for me. We could start over. I promise I'd appreciate you this time. There it was, the desperate plea, right in public. Heads turned slightly, whispers started. I felt the reversal, me thriving, her scraping bottom, but no sympathy stirred. Instead, I mirrored her old logic back, calm and firm. You said I was too predictable. Remember that, you needed passion, not safety. Looks like you found it with Jake. Congrats on that. As for us, that chapter's closed. I've built a life without you. And it's better. You're irrelevant now. Her face paled, just like that night with the story. But I was wrong. Please don't do this here. Everyone's watching. That's on you. I said, shrugging lightly. You made it public first with your posts and choices. I've moved on, learned from it all. Thanks for the push to value myself more. But this, I gestured vaguely between us. Over, Lena chimed in softly. We should get back to the party. And we turned away. Sarah stood there, mouth agape as we joined Mark's table. Later. I heard she left early alone. Friends confided she'd tried rallying them against me. But the truth had spread. Her cheating, the hypocrisy, no one bought it anymore. That night sealed it. The betrayal's outrage faded into earned justice. Ironic, complete. I don't think about her much now. Life's too full. Update. A year later. Divorce. I'm engaged to Lena. Max loves her. Sarah. Last I heard. Still single. Temping jobs. Karma delivered. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.